that horizontal line here. Wait, let me make sure I've done something. I need to think about this for a second. Okay, that's fine. All right, so you'll notice that we have resistance that comes in right at that 1308, which is a 50% retracement. I'm going to have to write down that number, and the reason why I'm going to write down that number is because it looks like the euro's potential is to probe above the 113, maybe trip a couple of stops, hit the 50% retracement, and roll over. So that's possible. Okay, so 113.10 would be resistance for today. We are in a range environment. Support. Okay. Now I'm going to remove this because I'm going to redraw. I'll redraw it when I need to. I'm just going to get it out of the way for now. That's the head and shoulder. That's the head and shoulder movement. If it decides to do that, here I'm going to redraw a couple of things here. Actually, I'm going to make these. I'm gonna draw those right back. So just stand by. Okay, let's do this. Support looks something like that. Okay, and so support, in my opinion, would be one. Well, I'm mark down support as that low right here because if we break through this 112.55, then that's probably going to put some downside pressure on the euro. So 112.55. Unfortunately right now it's a slow market, so we have pretty tight ranges at the moment. Whoops, 112.55, 12.55. Okay, tight ranges, but don't you worry, things are going to pick up. Come on, Aussie, go Kiwi, roll over. Yeah, it's your birthday. Roll over. It is your birthday. Okay, let's go over to the pound. Pound dollar. Okay. This cable, I think it was Catherine yesterday that asked if this was a ascending wedge. I wasn't really too confident of that. We did come out of that triangle though. And I'm going to delete this because I really don't. I'm not a firm believer of that move anyway. Let's take it over to a 4 hour. See, the thing is, and I'll draw this for you. So a lot of people are now referencing that this is the, shoulder, head, shoulder, right? Of the inverted head and shoulder pattern. So if it is the case, okay, the question is, where's the neckline? Is the neckline here? All right. Or is the neckline here? Like, I don't know. But what I will tell you is that we are coming out of what I figured is some sort of triangle pattern, right? I know we've been referencing that. And if that's the case, then our minimum expectations of a move, coming out of this triangle is probably something like this. roughly. This isn't perfect by any stretch of the means. Okay. So, could we make it all the way to like 147 and change? It's possible. Now, here's the flip side of that. I don't think, and I know I said this when Paul was here earlier. This is um, is the possibility for the cable, but I don't think the euro is going any higher. So if the euro is not going much higher, how is the pound supposed to follow this move? That's what I'm questioning. And I mean, if the pound moves like that and the euro goes down, that means the euro pound's going to like, you know, 76 pence, which I mean could be the case. I mean, you guys have seen the momentum of the euro pound to the downside. It's been pretty insane. Um, this persistent weakness in the euro pound. I just I'm looking at the pound dollar and I'm just wondering, can we actually make it up there? So I guess what we're going to have to do, we're going to do a couple of things. First of all, let's do a fib extension from the trend high, which would be right here where the yellow line is, right? No, and I have to redraw that. It's not perfect. Okay, there we go. All right. So that comes in at 146.52. It's a 127% extension. I mean, are we going to make it? Are we going to be able to make it even up there? I mean, relative strength is divergent here. Actually, it's not divergent. I made a higher high in relative strength. It's not divergent. It's just overbought. Um, so, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out where the hell can we go from here, you know? Hmm. If this is a yeah, that doesn't make much sense either. Let me delete that. I don't know. Let me check something else here. I don't know. I guess the round number is going to be a bit of an issue. 146, the round number. I don't necessarily want to write just a round number down to write down a round number, but all right, I'm going to write down a couple levels. 146, 146.50. Okay. We're trying to turn bullish here. I mean, we're coming out of a triangle and possible inverted head and shoulder pattern. So we're going to keep it bullish for now, unless we end up getting some sort of false breakout today. I think we should just keep it bullish at the moment. Wow, that Aussie and the Kiwi are coming down now. That's right. Keep coming down. All right, support will be this trend line support, I believe. So trend line support will be at 144. By the time we get down here, 144.70. Let's take a look at the Swissy. All right. So here's the Swissy, and yesterday, here let's zoom in here a little bit. Yesterday we were looking at the potential of a here. This is somebody brought this ABCD. It didn't really stop it. It continued higher. Um, Looking for a bit of a pullback here. And let's get rid of this one. To the 618 if possible, right? You can see this is what I was looking for. But the pullbacks have been really shallow. Okay, you can see the pullbacks have been really shallow here. Which tells me, man, if we break this 98 cent level in the Swissy, that's going to be pretty damn bullish. I mean, just because I don't know how valid this trend line is. Actually, I'm going to remove it because I don't know how valid it is. What I know that's valid is this horizontal resistance here. Okay, this one right here. Okay, you can see how we had horizontal resistance. We had a little false breakout. The 50% retracements at 98 cents. So if we break 98 cents, that's going to be huge. Okay, so I'm going to go over to 98. For those of us that are long, I mean, obviously, if we break 98 cents, that's big time, and that's good. That's obviously going to be very bullish for the pair. Um, dips down to 97 cents. Probably going to be very well supported. We were looking at the 618 yesterday, but we haven't even made it down there. So now it's any dip down towards 97 cents. I mean, if we can get that, I might actually add down there to longs, frankly. Okay, we're in a range. Okay, let's go over to the yen. Now, I know I mentioned this earlier when Paul was here. I'm actually looking to buy the dollar yen soon. I haven't bought it yet. Oh, gold's weak. Sorry, just taking a look around. Gold's pretty weak here. All right, anyway. Um, I, I'm thinking about buying the dollar yen, not current levels. I'd be more inclined to buy the dollar yen, maybe closer to 110, lower if we can get it. Longer term, okay, if you go out to the weekly chart, okay, we had this as you guys know, the head, shoulder, neckline. Okay, we have the head and shoulder almost completion. I mean, the completion takes us down. That took us down to 106, 50, 70, somewhere down there. We made it as low as 107 and change, 107.60. So we didn't quite meet the objective, but that might have been close enough. It might have been close enough. But anyway, It's like I want to buy the dollar yen. I just don't want to do it yet. And if we get a dip down to 110 and a quarter, would I think about dipping my toe in there? I might. Like if we get a move like this. So I'm going to write down 110.25. Okay. Resistance right now. Well, resistance right now would be right there, which is a 111.35. We have been in a bearish, we've been in a bearish trend in the dollar yen since here, let's go back to this weekly chart. And let's take a fib from the very low. This is like the historic low, right? To the high. See how we came so close to a 38% retracement too? I'm thinking that, man, that might have been it. You know, that could have very well been it. That's the whole reason why I'm thinking, man, I need to be a buyer down here on dips if we can get it. You know, if we can get a dip down here, I kind of want to be a buyer. But I haven't yet. I'm not long yet. I'm more concerned that, you know, I'm more concerned that equities are going to continue to correct and it's going to drag down the dollar yen. That's like the big risk of being long the dollar yen. Okay. All right. Support we have at 110 and a quarter, resistance at 111.31, and because we've been bearish, because we've bounced pretty aggressively, and we haven't made a higher high yet. I guess I just got to keep it in. I got to keep it in a bearish trend. I do. I got to keep it in a bearish trend. I just think that this is turning from bearish to neutral, all right, or to range, if you will. All right, let's go over to the Canadian. So I added to my dollar Canadian this morning at 126.48, I think. My cost average in the dollar Canadian is 126.74, just so you guys know. So I'm out of the money like 15 pips, but it doesn't really matter. To me, I'm long as long as we stay above 126. Okay. So 126 I feel is obviously very formidable support, and the reason why I think this 126 level is very, very good support here is because on a monthly basis, we're at the 38% retracement. I know we've been a little bit below it, but we're basically there right now. Okay, and when you're looking at a month or a weekly chart like this, to overshoot these prices by 50, 100, 120, 140 pips, it's not uncommon. Like we could have dropped all the way to 125.50 and bounced, and I would have said, okay, we're pretty much holding it. So I know this is a really key support around here for the Canadian. All right. So being on the long side while we're above 126, it's not a big deal to me. I think that's major support. Now resistance is still the same. Resistance is at 127.50, basically right here, right? 127.50, 127.60, I think we wrote down last night, but 127.60 is key resistance because we're in a bearish trend, but we'll take off that downside pressure if we break above that 127, 127.60. Uh, that's going to be some pretty good support or a resistance. If we can clear that, that's going to take that bearish trend off, in my opinion. Okay. All right, let's take a real quick look at the Kiwi. All right, so here's the Kiwi. And let's go into the... Now, let me ask you this. How many of you guys shorted the Kiwi? Yes, Polas is speaking this morning. Um, did you guys short it this morning? I shorted it at 68.83. So I'm up a few pips. 10 right now. Okay, a couple of you guys did this morning. Good. All right. The Kiwi dollar. We got this upward sloping channel. One of the things that you guys probably know here is this is a 78% retracement right here, right? Actually, what we can do, we can take that actual trend low right there. That means this is very good support, which comes in at 68.25, 22, 68.20. That's really good support today. If that breaks, we are going to tag the bottom of that. We're going to tag the bottom of that channel, which takes us down to 67.60 or so. Okay. Resistance is at 69 cents, and that has capped us even overnight. We went to 97, so that tells you how good that resistance is. 69. And we have gone back to a range environment from being bullish because of the false breakouts here. All right, guys and gals, I'm going to go get some coffee. I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks, everyone. Alrighty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. Let's go ahead and get into the, let's go ahead and finish up the analysis, and let's go over to the Aussie dollar. So I took a pop shot at the Aussie just a little while ago too at the 34 level, and I'm only up 8 pips, but and then I'm in a relatively small position. But the Aussie, just so you know, one of the big issues in my opinion about the Aussie dollar is the big wick we left on the weekly charts. I mean, this is a big disappointment. The Kiwi is the same way too, and I forgot to show you guys that with the Kiwi dollar. Here, let's go. You see the Aussie, that failed breakout attempt on the weekly chart. You see how big that was? That was a big deal. Kiwi is the same thing. You know, if you look closely at the Kiwi weekly chart here, the Kiwi did a false breakout attempt. You know, false breakout attempt with a nasty shooting star on the weekly charts. So I don't mind shorting into strength on those. Same with the the Kiwi and the Aussie. So now the Aussie, let's go intraday. Okay. So there's your trend line that we've been following. We broke below it. We're coming back up for a possible retest. Take this high to low. 38% retracement has capped it. We might make it up to 77.60. It's possible today, especially if, durable goods orders are weak. We've had, pretty consistent string of weak U.S. data. But if the U.S. data continues to be weak, we might make it up there. So 77.65 is resistance today. And we've gone from bullish to back to a range. Those false breakouts on the weekly charts are definitely concerning. Okay, support will be down here at 76.90. Okay, and let's go to the dollar index. All right, so here's your dollar index. Talked about it a little bit earlier about how dollar index rallied, hit key resistance, pulled back, retest the that trend line. That means support is critical down here at 94.45. 94.45. Resistance is obviously key at 95.20. That is a key level of resistance. And we are in a range. All right, let's go to the peso. Now, the peso rejected at the 77.60. We talked about how important that resistance was. And or basically, we stalled there yesterday. But we need to redraw a little bit here on the peso. So I'm gonna take a look a little bit more longer term here. First and foremost, let me do this. I had to redraw everything because as I came over to this new computer, as I came to use this new computer, the problem is that it is I wasn't able to transfer all of my analysis over. I'm sure I could have saved my template, my chart template, but all the analysis that I've been doing on the other computer, I can't transfer all that stuff. So that's all right. We get to redraw everything, which is good. It's good to get a fresh viewpoint of everything. Okay, I think this is a huge band of support. Obviously, we got a lot of resistance through here, or resistance through here rather, support through here, support. Okay, so anywhere down in this yellow area is probably a great place to be on the long side of the U.S. dollar Mexican peso. All right, so that means even today, like let's say we get turnaround Tuesday and the stock market rallies after being down yesterday, a dip down here to this 1737 is probably going to be a good support level to be on the long side. We wrote that number down last week at 1737, and I think 1737 is significant. It was significant here, it was significant here, okay, and it'll probably be significant on the way back down again. Now, if we should break 1762, which would be this, let's remove that. If we break that resistance right there, then a couple of things. A, the market is risk averse. B, the US dollar Mexican peso is going to start squeezing. So 1762. We're in a range. Let's go over to the Norwegian krone. So the Norwegian krone, let's redraw some of the stuff that I that was on here previously. So there's the head, shoulder, shoulder, neckline, okay. Then actually, you know what? Let's remove this. Okay, so there you go. As far as that's roughly what we've been looking at. Maybe draw that a little bit better. Something like that. Okay, so what that means is channel resistance now is at 830, which is going to be pretty critical. Right through here, right? And then we got a little head and shoulder here, but it's in a downtrend, which I'm not a fan of. So I think 830 to 810. .10, 8.30. Okay. And we're in a bearish trend, but you know, you guys know I say it every day. I kind of waffle here because it's such a bullish move, and we've come down to support basically. So okay, I'm gonna keep it in the range. Do it every day. All right, Swedish krona. Huge support there. Resistance there. I am still long the US dollar Swedish krona, by the way. I own it at 8.0903 is my cost average. Just sitting in it. And same applies, 818 to 803. Okay. And I'll tell you, to take this downside pressure off, we have to break 8.18 resistance. Has to be broken. 8.03 is support. And we're at just the lower end of the longer term range. Okay, your bias chart is done. It is finished. Let me grab a drink. Let me